All right, I'm inviting my friend Mary Schlegelmilch to join us. They are a sponsor of the Hybrid Logistics Project, which I talked about yesterday. I might get a chance to talk about it a little bit more today, but they are really seeing the future. And I really want Mary now to take over the screen share and share with us what's happening at Cisco. So glad to have you, Mary.
Well, good afternoon and hello. It's good to be with you today. And again, thank you. I'm hoping that, let's see, there we go, share. It should have come across.
Yep,
great.
I see it. We're good.
Well, it is absolutely great to be with you today and with everybody here because we are super excited about our partnership with the Learning Council. And we're really excited in it because we are helping teachers continually think about these models of learning. And so as we go through this, and it says that I am only sharing, are you only getting the presenter view?
I see it. It says Education Reimagined.
Yeah, but are you in presenter view or are you seeing the full view?
I'm seeing the full.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Mary Schlegelmilch, and I am the education consultant for the K-12 area across the United States. We have people positioned all over the US, but I lead this, and I just happen to be from the Midwest as well. And so, Ivy, I want to come down and you know, I'm only about 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from you. So I'd love to come down and visit with you because I think some of the things that she was saying as she was talking is when we think about those anecdotal data of what we're getting from the elementary teachers as opposed to the high school teachers and the models of learning, that really tells us a lot. So sometimes I really believe that that qualitative data of research that we do that's in our schools, I think has so much value. So I'm really excited about that. And as here at Cisco, as we reimagine education, we really have thought backwards too, about where have we been in the Industrial Revolution, and notice everything's always been in rows and rows all the way up into, and you're seeing the upper right-hand corner, that is a higher ed space where it's a dual enrolled space that the teachers are lecturing, and everywhere where there's a little piece of paper on a chair, that is telling the faculty member, hey, there's somebody in this class, they're just coming in via video or they're listening to it asynchronously. And I think, oh yeah, if I was a teacher on a podium and I was trying to, you know, get that out in a large lecture hall, that those little pieces of paper would then continue to remind me, because otherwise, if I only saw a handful of students, I might think, well, do we need to cancel class today, right? So I think we are changing and thinking differently of how do we reach students. And that's why that rendering that you see in the lower right-hand corner is we are really working with A&E firms, architectural and engineering firms, as they build schools. What do the schools need to be like now? How do we reimagine the space? And so that's a big piece, because as we reimagine space and space usage, not only has this pandemic done this in the retail world and you know, out in the business world, and now we're seeing a lot of space come open because we have so many hybrid workers. We also have the ability to not just have hybrid workers within our districts, meaning maybe it's our purchasing office that some of those people can choose to stay and work from home certain days of the week or whatever it may be. But now we're rethinking the space for teaching and learning. And that's what I'm most excited about. As a former district administrator for Omaha Public Schools and for being a building principal, I think that this is something that we need to keep our vision on. And that's where at Cisco, my task is to really help our company make sure that, you know, are we doing what, you know, creating the software and the hardware systems that our schools need so that we can continue to have great brick and mortar classrooms. We don't want to get rid of those at all. We see the value in them, but we also see the value in anytime, anywhere learning. Education is our first strategy. We are a company born in education. 2 Stanford professors, married, working in 2 different colleges on the campus back in the 80s, had no way of connecting with each other other than a phone number. And they are the ones that created this internet of, hey, can we share data back and forth between different buildings. And you think about this, and we're only in 2021. And so this really hasn't been that long. And look at where we've come. And since the pandemic, look at what we've done as well. But at the core of it all is always student retention and student success. And if we have that at the core, then we know faculty success is truly as important in our districts as we can strive to be, truly successful. We're always thinking about a flexible campus, an elastic campus, a campus that we can say, you know what, some of our buildings are going to be full, in present, fully everybody on, always on or right there. But then we may have some buildings and some areas and some classrooms that are more flexible, saying, you know what, we can have a hybrid model. This teacher doesn't mind having students come in remotely and students in person. But over in the other building, we still may want to have a virtual building where we set everything up for the success of those faculty members as they have the tools that they need to reach students. Now, again, this hybrid experience, we're looking at how can we help our schools build that flexible and be as elastic as they can based on what's going on in their communities. That's the truly important piece. Based on your community, are you ready to have that elasticity of your learning models and of the experience for staff and faculty and students? So we're always thinking about this. And I know that many of us really switched. And I remember March 13th of 2020, I got that notification saying, for sure, nobody is allowed on Cisco campuses. And I thought, oh, we need to help our teachers really understand what does this mean as we all are going home. And so as we've done this, we've really ramped up our thinking, because we've always thought about distance learning and what are the tools and the technologies you need for distance learning. But now I really made a push at the company to say, we have to think more about not just the tools and the technology, but what are the models of learning and then what tools help for that? And that's where the work that we've done with the Learning Council, really talking about the tech stack. What's needed in the classroom, what's needed at the district to be able to go in the cloud and go out to the edge and go into the home and really address the digital divide. When we look at these hybrid environments, three main pieces are really at the core. Is it flexible and secure? We know that that's super important, is the security. I was just working with the district early this morning that said, hey, we had some ransomware. Student data is all protected, but they shut down the internet. And I'm like, okay, well, we have tools for that. So security and the flexibility is important, but also we have done so much within our collaboration platform to have an engaging and interactive platform. Now, this is both hardware and software of what we're talking about. And at Cisco, we call it WebEx. Everything collaboration is WebEx. And I'm actually balancing today and yesterday is WebEx One, our major conference. It's a global conference of sharing the over 1,100 new enhancements to WebEx, whether it's to the software or to the hardware. But the important piece for our schools is it a consistent experience? If I am a teacher and I'm going to teach remote, what's my experience and can I find the tools and make it super easy? But also, what's the experience in my classroom? As I walk into my classroom here on campus, I know that right away, the sensors in the video unit that's in my room, it knows, oh, Mary's here, through artificial intelligence, and it can pop up. You're ready to start your, technology and education class. Do you want to start? And all I have to do is, hey, WebEx. And of course, I just activated my WebEx system here. But all I have to do is say that and then start class. It automatically looks into my calendar and says, it connects me. And it connects to all my students wherever they are. Our teachers do not, they have the best job of being good at what they are in teaching. Why are we also saying, hey, remember, connect this USB cable to this and connect these, from the speakers in and get a different mic and do all this? We shouldn't have to do all that to our teachers. Let them do what they do best, right? And that's why I'm going to bring up these endpoints. And you're seeing the one that I'm using is on the right side, the WebEx Desk Pro. That allows me to be this phenomenal teacher from a remote environment. I can write on that and the students see from the other end. If they have a tablet, they can write right on their tablet, whatever type of tablet it is, whether it's going to be a Samsung, an Apple tablet, or any type of tablet. They have whiteboarding capabilities as well. On the left side is everything that you may see within a classroom. And if we have a really small classroom, maybe it's a huddle space, we'd use that mini. And what's nice about that mini, I've used this one quite a bit in small huddle spaces off of our libraries and things like that. I've actually just been able to put it in there and it's one cable, because the power to that camera is going to power the camera, the speakers, and the microphones, and it's one line, PoE, right into the display that I'm going to be using. I can use any display. The rest of these units are meant for larger and larger and for very large rooms. Notice the bottom two have 4 cameras in them. Those cameras are automatically finding the people in the room through artificial intelligence, doing rostering, sending that roster to the student information system saying, yes, these students are here. But it's also saying, hey, if you were talking and you were talking, can I blend your video? And so it's doing some great things. And when I say the day in the life of a video device in a classroom, it should be a device that doesn't matter about the software. I can go from a Google Hangout because we're totally embedded with Google, as well as I can be using a Zoom meeting. I'm part of the Nebraska Distance Learning Association. And so last night we had a Zoom call and it just came right up on my system. Do you want to join your Zoom call? So I just push the button and I'm right in. It should not be hard. And what's really nice is the artificial intelligence that will allow us to do attendance, transcription into over 100 different languages, but also that the translation into over 100 different languages, but the transcription, I now have a running transcript. And if I want to go in and add links to those resources in our curriculum or to the web or things like that, I can go right in and do that transcription capability on the fly if I need, but it will automatically transcribe everything that's going on and who's saying everything that's going on. As you look further into this, notice that I have some things on there about digital signage. Well, what's going on with digital signage in the classrooms? And this is where I think it's really important that we're keeping a safer, healthier environment and allowing digital signage to automatically update based on our systems and let people know what's going on in our schools. So again, I bring this up because it's about interoperability. It's about the integrations that you want to make sure that you support and that are part of this whole ecosystem, but also to support the life cycle of everything that's going on within these systems. Again, artificial intelligence, it's using that WebEx assistant and then the face recognition. If you have a database, and some schools we worked with said, oh, we're not quite sure if we're ready for this. We need board approval. But if they are ready, they have a database from the school pictures that then they can link to these video units, and then it can automatically put up the name of those students in the video, or many times they do this just for the teachers or for faculty. So when they're doing professional development. Again, it's high fidelity. In fact, the audio today, I hope it's going well from your perspective, but I'm using one of those video endpoints for our audio capability and our video capability. It has that ability to intelligent frame, and I just using my home office, but I could have very easily put up a backdrop of any type of space in the world that I wanted to share, or just maybe a school signage or something like that. Again, all of these video endpoints are, they have a device integration that looks and feels like an iPad, and it allows for us to put buttons on like automatic windows, shades that come down, or automatically adjust the lights. But truly all you have to do is, it's a simple touch if you need to, but also it's a voice command. And again, that integration into other platforms is really great, because as we here in the Midwest know, many times we're connecting to different school districts even to have full classes or to have those highly qualified teachers teaching. And just because my neighboring district might use Zoom and then I use MS Teams and then the other district uses the WebEx, can we all get together in the same platform? Absolutely. And I think that's an important piece with the video hardware for the classrooms. Now, one piece that I wanted to share with you that we do have is a free connector to the LMS. These are the LMSs that we support at this time. And that connector is totally free, to where it will put the video software solution directly inside the course shell, so that when the students want to, touch into getting into their class or to do any type of simple messaging with their classmates that's in a very safe environment that is moderated for language and for inappropriate things, even moderated for self-harm type of vocabulary, things like that. This will allow students to collaborate with each other in that safe space without having to share an email or sharing a phone number. And I think this is really important for us. But also, as the student information system, or as the learning management system has become so crucial to how we deliver, this is one piece where we felt that having WebEx inside of that with an LTI integration was important. Now, we also have our own version that is not an LMS, and this is what I say is this is perfect for GED type courses. This is perfect for some of those activities that we want to do for our communities, where you can use simple WebEx classrooms, and this allows for that capability of a teacher and to have a roster and to have office hours and to have that connectivity that is going to be totally in a secure manner. Now, this does not have all of the bells and whistles of an LMS, because it will not have things like a separate discussion thread or grading or things like that. This is truly meant to be a way in which you can have ease of use of getting students and a teacher connected together. And so it's simple. I'm really excited about this because it is so simple. It works really well with the younger students. But what I've liked is many of the districts have said, we don't want to use a learning management system for a certain age group because it is a very expensive tool per license that we really don't want to use all those features. So this allows for that capability. Now, I want to shift a little bit into something a little different that I think is really exciting that we're doing, that continues to think partly of that safe learning environment, and it's about the device analytics. We have that ability to have a heat map of what's going on within our buildings, and it will automatically send alerts and give us a full report of what's going on. Now, I love this because if I saw a large gathering in a certain hallway between classes, then I knew, or, during class time, then I thought, well, either a teacher's out there or something's going on, or I could see that where people were. Now, it's using our wireless connections, but also what's really nice is we're now using this density monitoring to say, you know what, this room is only allowed to have 21 students in it. So when 22 students enter, then it says it gives me a report, but it also says it on the digital signage, hey, there are too many people in this room. For the health and safety of this space, we need to have some people vacate. It's nice because we can do classroom counting, classroom capacity counting, things like that. But also the reporting capability of saying, because of the devices that these students all carry, and we know that they are, whether we've given them a device from a district level or they're carrying personal devices, we now have that ability to know where you have been in the building and who you've been around, so that if we have any type of health monitoring, we can use that type of data. Again, the network gives us so much data that as a district, how do we use that data in an efficient manner to really optimize efficiency? And this is what we call our DNS Spaces. It really looks at the users, the network, the applications that are on this network, and all the devices to give us visibility and granularity into everything. And so we really like looking at we want to know, it's the knowledge, but what you do with the knowledge that's truly important about our networks. And again, we call this DNA Spaces. It's for safety and compliance purposes. Many times, we need to know about these types of where things are with density monitoring, but the location analytics, but also for a visitor experience. And I think this is what's really important, is when we bring visitors into our schools, we need to be able to give them real-time data so that they know, oh, is this a safe space for me, or how comfortable do I feel in this space? One thing that is really kind of neat that you can do is on the digital signage in the lobby, in the hallways, wherever it may be, you can actually put up a report on what is the air health of that building, or how many visitors have been in that building in a particular day, things like that. And I think that's really important as we get more and more conscious within our communities about our spaces. And I think that with our schools, with our opportunity with stimulus fundings, to be able to make sure through heating, air conditioning, that airflow monitoring, that we do have those best spaces. Again, density monitoring is a huge piece of this. It's using the Wi-Fi to help with that, to give us these reporting. But then we're also looking again at what possibility of a digital sign might be. Again, this is, it's a safe environment because it's green. As it turns into, maybe the airflow wasn't as solid or, kept up with the space and the people coming through it, it might turn to a yellow and or alert people to be red. Again, this is truly something that we're going to see more and more within our public spaces within our communities, our stores, our retail areas, our government spaces, but also this may be something that we think about for our community when they visit our schools, as well as for our students. Another piece that I like is it can also help with the cleaning of it. And so it can give us that real-time data of where we want to clean, areas that have not been cleaned, but cleaning is required before people can go into those spaces. So that's a truly important piece that can give us all that real-time monitoring. But again, as an educator, what do I love most? And it is models of learning. And what are our models? And I think this is a big piece, is what's the tech stack that we need to do any of the models, whether we want to do a hybrid model, we want to do a blended model with all in-person students, we want to do the hybrid logistics model, in which we're really excited to be part of, which really allows us to think about that elasticity of synchronous to asynchronous. Is it the calendar? Are these students going to be concurred, enrolled into courses as they are ready for them? And so how does the roster change and differ? But then as I think about space in motion, we have 2 buildings that I've been working with where they wanted to have beacon lighting show students the correct path on how to move during passing time. Because it is such a highly dense school for students, they said if everybody is facing the correct way going down the hallway, and we can help with the path, and we just add a minute to our passing period, we have better space in motion. And I think, okay, that's great and good knowledge, but let's think about it through the models of learning. How do we have a large space when we want to have direct instruction? I have a school here that says, hey, let's build out a theater type space. It's tiered, it's 3-sided, and it's really cool because now the teacher moves throughout the space and there's video everywhere. And there's monitoring, there's digital monitors so people can see from anywhere. And then when it's time to do that active learning activities of that course, then they're moving out into smaller spaces within the high school, and they get a teacher that helps them with those type of active spaces. And then they can work in another area of where, hey, you're now working asynchronously. You can watch these videos, but when it's time for you to come back into a space, an alert will come up and say, hey, this is now time. You have completed these things in the curriculum. It's now time for you to have an engaged active space and to go to with other students. So again, using online tools to help us with security, flexibility, being consistent in our classrooms, and creating engaging environments is truly what I'm excited about, because, as we look at models of learning, we're going to be shifting and being elastic for the various models for that particular day and time and student. And I think this is how we can truly be flexible. I come from a background in where I was in a school where it was a total 100% personalized school. Everything that we did was an individual lesson. And I did not have direct instruction at all for an entire year. And all I had was packets and laminated sheets. And I will tell you, that was not the way to do personalized learning. So now as I look at using technology, I'm just super excited. And that's why I love this quote. And I've used it for many, many years, is the technology that we put in our schools should really help us leverage time. First of all, give teachers time back, right? I love the comment that Ivy made of where teachers were just doing what teachers do. They were teaching. They didn't have to worry about hall duty and lunchroom duty and bus line and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really exciting, but also it should help us restructure these learning activities that we're designing. But at the foremost, it should be about rigorous instruction. It should be helping students truly move through the learning that they need to enter society, whether it's going on to college or to career. And I think that's super exciting. And with that, LeiLani, I'm going to pass it back to you, see if there's any questions, any thoughts.
Okay, so I'm checking, see if anybody wants to chime in right now of our participants that are on the line right now, but this was really great. I love your comments about really where the design of learning is going. It is so different. And everyone that we've talked to, in the last 6 months has said normal's not coming back. No. Because of the expectations of the market, because people started discovering all these apps and they're like, well, I might homeschool, I might go to a different sort of environment. It's a competitive environment. That's why we have to talk about this. Yeah. That's why people really need to look at their network upgrades, because they are going to be using digital forever now. And that's an impact. It's changing things. So let's see, is anyone wants to comment? I don't see any, raise your little digital hands, people, and let's see what you have to say about all this, because this is kind of exciting. I don't see anybody sharing, but we have had some people.
Quiet group today. I noticed that as I came on, at the beginning with Ivy too. I thought, oh, she's doing some great stuff with Common Sense Media. My students, my own children even said, Mom, can you quit sharing with our friends' parents about this Common Sense Media? Because now we can't go to certain movies. Not only can we not go, but now our friends can't go. And I thought, oh, what do you mean? And I think that was one of the best things is my kids would come home and say, hey, I want this app. Or I want to go to this movie, and I would go to the Common Sense Media website. And as a parent, look up and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. No. And, and then I find out, well, we got in and I'm like, what? You got in? What do you mean you got into that movie? So, some of those things that I always think that, I wanted to at least be informed. What is wrong with that movie or that application or those types of things? And it also goes back to the processes in a school we have to put in place, right? I had this list of applications that my teachers couldn't use. And they're like, well, what do you mean we can't use these? And I said, yeah, I know you need the reason. Well, here they are. And we created this little website. Why couldn't they use NPR radio? Well, the basic reason is when you have 30 of your students with earbuds in, logging into NPR on the web, the classroom next door didn't have enough bandwidth to complete an online quiz, because we just didn't have enough network. Now I'm going back 15 years ago, right? But that's still relevant in many of our schools is, do we have enough access in the school as well as outside of the schools into our communities? That's a huge piece for us still. And like I said, it shouldn't be, I've been to some areas of this world where, they don't have access issues. And I'm thinking, why? Well, they just totally circumvented anything that was in the ground, right? They said, we put up a big outdoor mesh network, and it just reaches into every valley and into every hill, mountainside, and everything. And I'm like, how come we're not doing that here in the US? And so I've done a lot of research with fiber and why and what's going on here. And there's some political stuff that we probably don't want to talk about here, but there's a digital divide out there. And it's not just for our students, it's for our faculty, our staff, because when they got sent home, we quickly found out who couldn't connect from home as well.
Yeah, I find it ridiculous that it's not like a human rights issue, right?
Yeah.
Because it really is part of the economy, and like, what? Like, why are we? So I totally agree with you. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to pull in now Chris McMurray to start talking about the next stuff that we got to talk about. But thank you so much, Mary. It's a joy.
Absolutely. It's always a joy, and we're so proud to be a partner with you on the hybrid logistics project. It is something that is truly at the core of how Cisco sees the future of school, how we can reimagine it. And like I said, WebEx 1 is going on right now. It's our major conference. It's a global conference. We've done, like I said, over 1,100 new features to WebEx, which is really huge. But also,
and I know you're doing them because we use WebEx for all the EduJedi meetings.
Awesome.
And I get the little email updates that there's a new feature like all the time. And I'm like, wow, they're really feature building. Holy cow.
Yeah, we really are. But also, this is the first day of EduCause. And so, because I teach at the collegiate level, they're pinging me to say, but no, K-12 is still in my heart.
Yeah, I know. Well, thank you so much.
You bet. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Mary.